All right, everyone, so with the rear suspension complete on the YZ490, we're now going to move on to the front forks. We're going to do a complete rebuild on both of the front forks and put the new fork boots on. All right, so let's get at it. All right, so to start on this fork, we're just going to get the boot off. This does have the original clamp on it. I'm not sure if I have the original clamps from the other one or not. Now, this boot is never going to just come off on its own. It has been on here for a long time, so we're going to have to just kind of shave it off here. It is hard as a rock. Well, we're going to remove the drain screw from this one. Right there. Now, if you don't have this drain screw, you simply remove the top cap and you can get all the oil out. Okay, so to get this cap off, I don't have a actual wrench that size, so we're going to use the socket. And I'm just going to give it a whack here with my hammer and see if I can break it free. And I'm pretty sure that I did. Nope. Felt like I did. Let's try that again. And there. Pretty easy to get that to come off. All right, so now that I've got most of the oil out of the fork, it's been draining for a little bit. I just stuck the cap back in the end just to prevent any more residual oil in there from running in behind my workbench. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my impact and I'm going to buzz this bolt out of the bottom. Now, if this doesn't come out easy, then I'm going to show you how you will have to do it. And I got lucky and my bolt came right out. Just going to get the little brass washer out of here. There's a brass washer right there that was on the end of that bolt. Okay, so now we got to get this spring clip that holds the dust seal in. On some forks, the dust seal is on top of this clip, but on this style, the spring is on top of the dust seal. So you simply just pop it out like that. It comes out really easy. And then you simply just give this a couple of good pulls and everything should come apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And there we go. It is all apart. Okay, so this is the dampering tube that came out of the fork tube. And if you weren't successful in trying to get this cap bolt out of the bottom of the fork leg with either a impact gun or a wrench or an Allen wrench, you would need a special tool to go into this area right here, which is inside the fork tube. Now, I had one made at work. I had a guy make this for me at work. This is actually a pipe fitting reducer that went from, I think this is 1¼ inch down to 5/8 or 3/4. Then I took a 3/4 bolt and I just threaded it in from the top and had them weld it together so that I could get a socket on here, and this part fits right inside there and will not allow this to turn. You can more than likely buy one of these, but you can simply use a nut. You don't have to use a reducer like I did. You can find, I think it's a 20mm nut fits in there, and then have somebody just weld a bolt to the top so you can put a socket over it. And that will hold this dampening tube inside the fork tube while you are able to back this bolt out, which is threaded through the bottom of the leg. All right, so once you've got everything completely taken apart, you're going to want to clean everything thoroughly. You can use your favorite degreaser, or you can use just water and some sort of degreaser or detergent. So in my parts cleaning kit here, what I have is Zep Orange and water, and I find it does a fine job in cleaning just about everything I need to clean. The only thing is that you have to dry it off thoroughly when you're done, because you've got a water base that you're using with the soap, and if you don't dry it off, any of the parts that are not aluminum, any of the steel parts or stuff that's not chromed or plated, like the spring, your damper rod inside, it will rust, and it will rust really quick. So I used my compressor and some compressed air to blow everything off thoroughly, and then I just took some shop rags and wiped down anything else that I thought might still be on it, on the inside or even on the outside. All right, so I'm just going to finish up cleaning up the fork leg here, and then we will move on to removing the anodizing from it and getting it all polished up and ready for some clear coat that I'm going to put on it to protect it. Alright, so now I'm just going to dry it all off with some compressed air, and we'll move over to the bench grinder and get rid of this anodizing. Okay, so on my polisher I've got two Scotch-Brite wheels. These are 8-inch. I get them from a place in Canada. I can't remember the name of it. I have to look it up. But you can get these things anywhere. There's actually a guy named Cameron Niamela, who I'm sure a lot of you viewers have seen, and he actually sells these on his website. For me to get them out of the States, so it was a little bit expensive with the exchange and everything, so I had to find a supplier within Canada to buy these. What I'll probably do is leave a link in the description of the video of where you can pick these up. So what I've done is I've doubled them up and put two of them on here. Make sure you're wearing some sort of glasses, and all we're going to do is just spin this around and take the anodizing off. First, what we'll do is we'll just kind of go over the whole thing and basically clean it up, and then we'll be able to see where the anodizing is still obvious on it. Some of the anodizing will just come off right now. Okay, so that's as far as we go with the Scotch-Brite pads on the bench grinder. Now I'm just going to blow all the dust off, and we'll move on to the last step before we put a clear coat on it, which will also be with a Scotch-Brite pad, but it's going to be a square pad that I'm going to hold in my hand, and we're slowly going to work our way all the way around this fork leg, all the way to the bottom, to get all of these varying colors out and get more of a brushed look into the fork leg. Now this is the Scotch-Brite pad we're going to use. It's type A, very fine. And just going to put my hand into a Ziploc bag because I can't actually put a glove on it. Alright, so now you're just going to place the part in it like that, and we're just going to spin this around, applying nice even pressure. And you can see the top here versus the bottom, the nice uniform color that we're getting all the way through. And there you have it. Almost as good as new, aside from all of the deep gouges in it from all the rocks over the years, but she looks a lot better than what she did when we started. I'll probably spend about another, I don't know, maybe about 5 minutes doing exactly what I was doing before, just going all the way around it in one direction, getting the most coverage that I can on it to get the even brush look to it. Alright, so now that we've got everything completely cleaned up, we got our rebuild kit ready to go, got the tools necessary here. We're going to start off with our dampening rod, and it comes with a couple of, they call them O-rings. They're actually a plastic ring right here, and then another one here. And they've got this little tip on them, and the way that they go together is where the notch is right here. That little nub kind of goes in on both sides. So you simply just make sure that you've got that facing up on your first one. Gently slide it over. Don't bend these out too much. They could break, and your rebuild kit does not come with them. And then the next one goes on the opposite direction with the little nub there facing down. Once you get that on, you just line it up in the slot, and there you go. All right, so once you've got those on, we take our short spring and we put that on. Then we simply slide this in to the main fork tube, and then just allow it to slowly work its way down to the bottom. Take your finger down in here and just kind of guide it through like that. With that on, we will move to our main bushing. This is the one that's going to slide inside your fork leg and on the outside of your fork tube. We're going to put a little bit of lubrication on this one. Just take some fork oil. And get the outside and inside of this nice and lubricated. And simply just slide it over top like that. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to put a bit of oil on the main part of the fork tube, just to make it so that it slides down inside the fork leg nice and easy. Now we've got a bushing that goes on the end of your dampening rod. Get that on. And then this whole assembly is just going to slide inside our fork leg. I'm not going to worry about getting any oil on here or anything. That is a nice tight fit, that one. There we go. So once we've got the fork tube fully bottomed out, we can take our cap bolt that goes in the bottom, put our brand new crush washer on there, and then on this side we simply thread it in to your dampening rod, which is inside. Now I'm just going to start this in, because I probably won't be able to tighten it up too much. It's probably spinning inside. Let's just see if I can get it to cinch up. I doubt it. Okay, so what we're going to need now is that special tool that we made at the beginning. We'll just insert this, get it into the end of our dampening rod, and now I should be able to tighten this up. All right, now we're going to need to get our torque wrench out. Okay, so this gets torqued to 52 foot-pounds. I've got my torque wrench set up for that already. So we're just going to hold this end here inside the end of that dampening rod. And we are there. Now I'm just going to wait until I hear a click. Just going to get it right up here on the bench. Almost there. All right, so now we've got it torqued to 52 pounds. We'll just remove our special tool. Okay, now we pull the main tube back out, and I'm just going to run it in and out of there a few times. Just get oil everywhere in there, all around that bushing and inside the fork leg. Now we can install our inner bushing. Then we install our washer. Now we're going to put the fork seals on. In order to do that, I've got a special tool. It's a piece of plastic made by Motion Pro that slides over the end. That gives it more of a rounded edge rather than this sharp edge to guide the inner part of the seal over so that it doesn't cause any damage to the seal. It's called a fork seal bullet kit. Comes with, this one here comes with all the different sizes that you would need. And this is the one for the 43 mil. So we simply slide that over. Just going to get a bit of oil on the inside of the seal and a little bit on the actual fork tube, and then you simply just slide your seal right over like that, and down she goes. And then the same thing goes with the dust seal. We already got enough oil on here. We don't have to put any on the inside of this. The dust seal simply goes right over top and then down like that. The next step, you would use a seal driver to drive those seals down. Unfortunately, I do not have a seal driver. I haven't acquired one yet, but there is a trick to doing this that does not require one. And what we will be using is some electrical tape. So you slide your fork tube all the way out. Take your oil seal and your dust seal, slide them all the way down. Get them so they're started in there. Now let's get all the oil off of here. So on some forks you could actually use your old seal and put it right over top of your new one, and you'll be able to drive that one down and then take your old seal off. In this case, this oil and dust seal go right down inside the fork leg, and there's actually about an eighth to a quarter inch where the dust seal sits right down inside this lip, and you wouldn't be able to get it back out. So in this case, we're going to have to use a trick, and what it involves is simply wrapping tape around your fork like so. You build up probably about a 1/16 of an inch right here in this spot. And then what we're going to start to do is take the tape back in that direction, overlapping by about, I don't know, maybe a millimeter each time. All right, well, that ought about do it. Now, I don't know if you can see that real well, but what it's done is it's created a lip on the outside, and the inside sits in a lot further, so that when we come down and hit the seal, it will hit on the outer part of it rather than on the inside. And we're simply going to drive this seal down inside the fork leg. So here we go. Let's have a look there and see if I got it all the way down. I think I've got it all the way down, yep. So there you can see fork seal's all the way down, and the dust seal is still in perfect condition on the inner lip all the way around. Now we just take our brand new snap ring, and this one here goes right inside here like so. We'll just get it started on one side and then push it into the other side. You just take a little screwdriver and pop it right in that groove in there. Just make sure you got it in the groove all the way around. It's in all the way, yep. Hopefully you guys can see that, but that snap ring is in all the way around. All right, so now that we got the fork seals installed, we're just going to push the fork tube all the way down to where it bottoms out, and we're going to fill it up with oil. In this case, this one takes 620 mils, which will be 4 inches from the top of the fork tube. All right, let's check it out right there. And that is about perfect. I think it just went into the oil, yeah. So if you can see it, hopefully you can see it right there. You can see that little bit of oil on the tip. It just dipped into the oil. And that's perfect. So now we can install our spring. And extend our main tube back out. Then we have this little washer slash hat thing here that goes in on top of the spring. Then the spacer goes on top of that, and then we have our cap. Okay, well, we've made some progress. The forks are completely rebuilt and on the bike. I still need to put the clamps on them, but I gotta clean them up and maybe zinc plate them. Either that or we'll be using some zap straps. I'm not sure if I actually have the clamps for the top and the bottom. I can't remember when I took it apart. I also need to turn that one fork boot a little bit, but I think they look pretty good. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the fork rebuild on the YZ490 project. They're not really bolted on, but at least they're sitting in the triple clamps and they look pretty good. So the next video, I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be leaning towards the motor itself. I'm still waiting for all the bolts to be able to put everything that I've already done on the frame, and I don't know how long it's going to take for them to get here. So time to move on to the motor and get it painted and start the reassembly on that. So I want to thank you all for coming out and watching my videos. Please leave some comments, share with your friends, and I'll catch you all next video.